my family anymore. I didn't have dreams. I didn't have goals. I was working on Wall Street, basically pushing paper, looking at screens all day. And I would sit down at that job and I would say, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Is this the impact that I'm going to make? Of course, you can make an impact in an office. You can make an impact outside of the office. But I always knew there was something greater for myself, for Sherry Lynn. I wanted my kids to be proud of their dad and their mom, that they're doing something that's greater than themselves, being a part of something that's stronger. And I remember being a place where I felt no freedom, I felt no flexibility, felt no hope. That same job during COVID, I began to find myself depressed because the people couldn't even be together. And I remember at that moment, 9 years ago, this business came through my wife and her saying yes. And I remember it, green carpet, Bradenton, Florida, sitting somewhere right here. There was a man on the stage who said, there's more for you. You can dream. There is a different way. Honestly, I knew his last name was Pentecost because I grew up in a Pentecostal church. I never met him, but I believed him that day. That moment of believing a man I had never met, hearing those statements, you can dream again, there's more for you, there's a different way, changed the trajectory of Sherry Lynn's life, changed the trajectory of my life, changed the trajectory of our kids' life, what will be our grandkids' life. And I believe today that there is someone in this room right now that you've never met me, you've never met Sherry Lynn, Joey, you've never met Coach, you've never met us yet personally, but just take my word for it. If you're out there and you say, I've never met you, listen, hear the same words that I heard 9 years ago. You can dream again. There's a different way. There's more for you. When you walked in, you should have received a pencil. Most of you probably put it away, or some of you have already lost it. If you lost it, you're disqualified for any announcements that we place. I want everyone to grab your pencil and hold it in your hand while we talk. Yes, the all you put it away. Yes, the all keep your receipts. You got your pencil? Wave it at me.
Did we make too much money? We don't have one.
If you don't have one, it's like communion. We'll get you one here in a little bit. I want you to just hold it in your hand while we talk. And I want you to think on this statement. Your story is currently being written, and you are the author. I want you to repeat after me. Say, I am the author of my story. Say it like you actually mean it and believe it. I am the author of my story. Have you ever stopped for a moment and thought about this? You were created for a specific purpose, and there's a reason why you are here in this time, in this moment, this day, this century. I think about this all the time. I ask the Lord, of all the centuries, why 2023 for John Alcala to be roaming the earth? Today and every day of your life, you have the opportunity to write your story, and you are the author. But many of us in this room, we've never ever even thought about writing our story. We've never even entertained the fact that there might be an audience out there who wants to read our story. And you haven't written a story for several reasons. Maybe one of the reasons is you feel like life has beat you down. You feel like you're disqualified. You feel like you're inadequate. You feel undervalued. You feel overlooked. You feel like no one's even watching your life. So you would say to yourself without even knowing it, why would I even write a story? Some of you have disqualified yourself from writing your story because of something that your parents did, your upbringing, your childhood, a tragedy that happened to you early. You say to yourself, why would anyone want to read the story of my life? But I want to tell you this afternoon that there are millions of people in the world today who long for a story of hope. They long for a story of passion. They long for a story of grit. They long for a story of a person who is determined to say, I want to write my story for the world to read. The world needs your individual story because you are meant to reach a world that I cannot reach. And I am meant to reach a world that you cannot reach. But if each and every one of us makes a decision to write our story, it works can be a place where when you put it all together, it's a book of stories that can literally change not just one country or two countries, but it can literally change the world if we write our stories together. You know, when I think of some people who had an opportunity to never write a story, I think of people like Alcala, who became deaf and blind at a young age. But she overcame her disabilities to become a renowned author, lecturer, and activist. Check this out. She was the first deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree in history. It was actually in Sherry Lynn's notes, and I was mad when I saw them, and she didn't. She skipped it, so thank you, Jesus, for that. But Helen Keller said this. She keeps receipts, but we don't compare notes real well, so this is good. Helen Keller said this: the only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision. I think of Maya Angelou, an African-American poet and author. She faced racial discrimination, troubled childhood, but she channeled those experiences into her writing. She became a prominent figure in literature and civil rights activism. We'll go one that hits home for a lot more females. Coco Chanel. How many of you ladies like you some Chanel? Sherry's like, honey, I need Chanel. I was like, I'll buy you a channel. Coco Chanel. Gabrielle Chanel. One of the most iconic and influential figures in the history of fashion and design. She was born into a poor family. Listen to this. She was an orphan. And in the orphanage, she learned how to sew. And to this day, she is one of the most innovative and inspiring individuals in the design industry, even to this day. These are just 3 examples of women who could have used every excuse in the book. One who was deaf and blind, one who faced racial discrimination, and one who was an orphan. But at some moment in all 3 of their lives, they made a decision. You know what? I'm going to be the author of my story. Yeah. I will not let what I went through or what was handed to me dictate the story of my life. I will take what was handed to me, and I will be the author of the story, and I will dictate how that story ends one day. And can I tell you, you have the same decision here today after this weekend. You can decide, I have a story worth writing. Look at your pencil. Every time that this pencil hits paper, it has one purpose, and it's to leave a mark. And can I tell you, you are meant to leave a mark in this world. I don't care if you're top 10. I don't care if you are standing in the back. that. It does not matter. There is no bias. You can make a decision to write your story today. You are meant to leave a mark in this world. There's a story that the world wants to read that has not been written yet. The question is, will you choose to write it? What is the difference between those that we have yet to hear their stories and those that we know their stories well? The difference was a decision to begin to write. At some moment, they decided, I'm going to start writing my story. And here's what I think some of you need to hear, and it's no offense to any of the people that you look up to. Maybe they're in your upline, maybe it's your mom or your dad, maybe it's your brother and your sister. You were not born in this world to be a supporting role in someone else's story. You are the main character of your story. When I look at my life, I don't want to stand before the Lord and say, well, you followed so-and-so around pretty well. Well, you followed Mark Pentecost pretty well, John. That's good. You're part of the story. No, I want to be the Rocky Balboa of the Rocky series. Right? And I challenge each and every one of you to not just be a part of someone else's story, but begin to write your own. So why'd I give you a pencil? 3 things a pencil can teach us. The first thing that you need to know about a pencil is that a pencil has to be sharpened. And this isn't the fun part of the speech, but I promise you it gets better. There will always be a sharpening process in your life. The pencil that you are holding in your hand, if it is never sharpened, it can never fulfill its purpose. The pencil is only effective when it is being sharpened. There will always be a sharpening process in your life. And let me tell you something. If you can imagine a pencil going into a sharpener, can you imagine the pain that it would probably feel? It's no different for you and me. It's not fun to be sharpened. Yeah, it hurts. Man, that sharpening process can come through all ways, shapes, and forms. It can come through hardships, trials. It can come from loved ones talking bad about your business. It can come from your best friends not supporting you. Your sharpening process, I can tell you, it can be painful and it will be painful, but let me tell you something. It is through painful experiences that we develop the character that we need to be who we are called to be. In this life and in your business, there will be seasons that you're being sharpened. Understand that in order for a pencil to fulfill its purpose, it has to continually go through a sharpening process. And here's the thing, it's not just one time. You sharpen a pencil so that it can write, and guess what? It gets dull again. And so guess what happens? You have to be sharpened again so that you can write some more. And it happens over and over and over again until your story is continually being written. What does a sharpening process look like to you and me? When hard times come, you're being sharpened. When you face adversity, you're being sharpened. When you have a slow month in your business, you're being sharpened. When someone on your team decides this isn't the place for them anymore, you're being sharpened. When you feel like you're going through a storm in your life, you're being sharpened. But let me tell you something. Once the storm is over, once you go through that sharpening process, sometimes you'll go through that process and you won't even realize that the process is over. But I can promise you this, that when you go through the sharpening process and when you go through the storm, when you come out of the storm, you will not be the same person that walked into that storm. Let's go. You will be stronger. You will be bolder. You will be greater. You will have more character. You will lead your team better. You will be who you were called to be to step into whatever season you are about to step into. Some of us are being sharpened right now. Embrace it. Man, you don't think this last 9 months I feel like I've been in the stinking pencil sharpener for 9 months, baby. But you know what? When you learn to embrace the sharpening process, it just gets more fun. Because you know, when you go through the storm and you come out, guess what? Your story's just being written better. Those letters are clearer. Your handwriting looks better. Because the story is currently being written and you are the author. Can I tell you that when you come through a storm, smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. Tough seas do. Embrace the storms, for they bring in rain that nurtures growth. Embrace the challenges, for they are the chisel that sculpt your character. Understand in life there will always be a sharpening process. The second thing we can learn from a pencil is that mistakes aren't permanent.
Yeah.
You know, me and Coach, we were math majors, so we went through a lot of math classes. I know all of you. How many of you had that annoying teacher that deducted points off your paper because you used pen? Like, let's be honest. Sorry, Sam, you teachers, you know. I used to always get mad at my math teachers, like, why does it matter if it's a pen or a pencil? They always made us use a pencil because they knew it was inevitable that we were going to make a mistake. And that we would have to erase that mistake to continue what we were doing. Any good pencil always has a good eraser. And I want you to hear something today. Whatever that has happened to you, your failures, your shortcomings, your mistakes, your regrets, none of that is permanent.
Yeah.
None of that defines you. None of that puts a label on you. None of those things have the power to dictate what you do from this point forward. The thing that I love about an eraser is that when we make a mistake in writing, you don't have to throw away the whole page. You just need to correct just enough to where you can continue to write a little bit more. An eraser gives us a chance to revise our work, to make it better, to fine-tune it. The process of erasing our mistakes in life grants us the opportunities to just rewrite our story. Henry Ford wisely said, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Mistakes are not a stumbling block. They're a stepping stone. Mistakes are not the end. They're the beginning of an opportunity to learn and be better going forward. Mistakes are a place where you can learn and you can become more powerful. Because it is not about avoiding mistakes in life, but embracing them and using them to propel ourselves forward after the mistake has been made, because we have an eraser in life and we can start fresh and new. Day one. Every one of you in this place today, hear me. Don't be afraid to use the eraser in life. It's okay. Give yourself the freedom to be bold for something. I would rather be bold in something and make mistakes than never try and never make a mistake. Just use the eraser. The only time a mistake is final is when you refuse to learn from it and you keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over again. Mistakes in life have to be followed by change so that you can grow from it. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. If we learn from our mistakes, they're lessons that we can use to be better the next time around. And lastly, and I believe the most important thing about a pencil is that it's what's inside that matters. It's what inside that matters. You can have the eraser, you can have the wood, but if you don't have what's inside, it's useless. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Each and every one of you in this room, you possess something inside of you that the world is yet to see. Every one of you in this room, you have three things inside of you. Number one, you have potential. You have potential in the very depths of your soul that want to come out. The world needs, and it's inside of you, but because of everything around you, or the doubts or the fears, you've kept that potential inside. But can I tell you today, you are not a random collection of cells and atoms. You are a God-breathed masterpiece, intricately designed with unique gifts and talents and abilities, and they're all inside of you. For you are a work of art in the eyes of our Creator, because you are in the image of Him that is alive. It is time to allow your potential to come forth. Every one of you not only has potential, but you have passion. I was talking to Coach and some others. The passion in the room is so amazing. When I look over this room, I love to see passion. I love to be around passionate people. It makes me want to do something. It gets me fired up. But here's an honest moment today. Some of you, you're brand new in this business, and you're on fire. Can I implore you, don't lose that. Don't lose that fire. Don't let anything throw water on that fire. But here's the honest moment. Some of you, you've had that fire, and you've let a lot of things throw water on a fire that was once like a bonfire. You've let something or some things happen that have happened to you be the thing that has stolen your passion. Maybe it's life, maybe it's something outside of your control. But can I tell you that if you want to change your life, if you want to change your family situation, if you want to leave a legacy in life, it's going to start with being passionate about what you're doing. Passion is the force that compels us to take action. Passion drives us to excellence. Passion is contagious to your team in this world. People will join you on this journey simply because you're passionate about it and you believe in it. You have the ability to leave this place. For those of you who have lost some of that, you have the ability to leave this place with renewed passion. It's still inside of you. You just have to allow it to be rekindled in your life. Lastly, each and every one of us has purpose. You were created for a purpose. The motto of our company that we adopted this year is that It Works is a place where passion meets purpose. Where we take a passion of a vehicle that can change our life, and in the midst of being in that vehicle and bringing people with us, we find a purpose that is so much greater than ourselves. Your life has meaning. Your life has significance. It's not a coincidence that on this day you are here in Dallas, Texas, because you have purpose. Hear me today. Fulfillment does not come from having it all. It comes from having purpose. You can have all the things in the world. You can have all the material things. You can have cars, you can have the home, you can have the American dream, you can have all that stuff. You can have the friends, you can have the relationships. But if you fail to find your purpose, you will find yourself empty day after day after day. And let me tell you, your purpose is inside of you. You say, John, what is my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. Let me help you. You can have my purpose, what I believe my purpose is. Purpose, your purpose is not about you. It's about what you can do for others. Hey leaders, I hate to tell you this. I really don't care what number you are. I care about how many numbers underneath you are finding their purpose. I want you to all make extraordinary money because I know you're going to do amazing things with it. I know you're going to use the resources in the right way. But I believe that the true measure of a purpose, of a person, is that they find their purpose and that they realize they have the power to impact the masses for a cause that is greater than their own. The most important thing about a pencil is what's inside. The most important thing about you and about me is what's inside. Inside of you, there is potential, there's passion, and there's purpose. In closing, I want you to make a decision this weekend to write your own story. You are the author of your own story. Now you understand there will always be a sharpening process. You have to be sharpened to fulfill your purpose. You're gonna make mistakes. Just use the eraser. Keep writing your story. And the most important thing is what is inside of each and every one of you. I want you to remember that this weekend you're going to be full of emotion. You're going to be filled up. Don't leave this place. Throw the pencil in the drawer and say, I'll do it later. Don't leave this place and say, I'll write my story a week from now, a month from now. There's a lot going on, a year from now. No. Write your story now because there is someone that needs to read your story in the days to come. To close it out, this year I've witnessed some people. I'm proud of all of you, let me start with that. But I've witnessed some people who have gone through a sharpening process. Maybe I had an early Zoom call with them in January, February. Had some real hard conversations, but I saw some individuals who said, you know what? Although the sharpening process is painful, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to write my story in 2023. Jenica Winter, will you come up here? So I had Kate find some antique pencil sharpeners. For all of you who are way younger, this is a pencil sharpener. Jenica, beginning of this year, we had some good conversations. And the way that you decided, I'm going to allow this moment in my life to make me better, to make me stronger, to make me the leader I need to be. You're not the same person you were in January as you are in September at Green Carpet today. I want to say I'm beyond proud of you for the way that you allowed yourself to be sharpened. It didn't break you. It made you sharper, and your story is being written. Where's my newlywed, AR? Get up here. AR, I really believe this. I know, I really believe this. I'm going to do this to you because I really believe this. I believe that a lot of times in this business, there are certain people that get so overlooked because they're so consistent, it's almost taken for granted. And the way that you've led your team this year, I mean, I've watched you. We were in the field. We watched you day after day after day, month after month after month. But I gotta say, in 2023, is beyond the most proud that I've been of the way that you have led your team. I know you would probably felt unseen. That's like, man, does anyone know how hard I'm working? Let me tell you, one, your team knows who you are. They know how powerful you are, how effective you are. You have allowed yourself to be sharpened in a way that has been admirable. And let me tell you something, you are no supporting role to anyone in this world. And you're going to leave this place and you're going to write your own story because the world deserves to hear Nyar's story. So, Crystal, here's what I love about you. Is that when I talked about a sharpening process, it's not like you just sharpen a pencil one time. You sharpen it, and you write. And then you look at your pencil, and you feel dull again sometimes. But I haven't watched you sharpen yourself once, twice. I've watched you sharpen yourself 3 times in 9 years, over and over and over again. I've watched you and your husband, Josh, live the life that the works is so proud of. You represent our company so well. But I just want to congratulate you on not being broken in that second sharpening and that third sharpening. But your story, it's not only already being written, it's already a great story. But I want to challenge you to continue to write an even better story and pave the way not only for your team, but be a pillar in this company and say, I know how to be sharpened over and over and over again to fulfill my full potential. And I'm so proud of you, Josh, and the way that you've represented us so well over the years. So, I couldn't find like a big, obnoxious eraser. I tried, okay? So I found like a chalk eraser. We all work with me just a little bit. That's all I could find. It's all Kate could find. Let's blame Kate. Let's blame Kate's the best. Christy Vine, you stay there. So a lot of people don't know this, but Christy ghosted the CEO of this company for 2 years before joining this company. No, she legitimately did. When we were in the field, I sent her a message, and for 2 years it was nothing. So every now and then I'll just screenshot that just to be obnoxious and send it to her. And now I can say you literally ghosted the CEO for 2 years. 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. 4 years. That's rude. I got you an eraser because a lot of people don't know your story. Your story should have ended in addiction. Your story should have ended in a broken marriage. Your story should have ended a million other ways than the way that it's going right now. And if there is one person that learned how to use the eraser in life, it's you.
Yeah.
And so there is no... writing it well. I'm beyond proud of you, friend, and I cannot wait to read every chapter from here on out. And you are the way, the model of how to erase what should have been and write the story the right way. And I'm proud of you. Where's my other eraser go? I'll switch it. So this is where I pull up Mark Pentecost. If he once told me, it's just never be predictable. I remember my wife. I hope this mic reaches, if not, I'll scream. I remember my wife, one of the greatest stories that she ever tells. One of the greatest stories she ever tells. There's no listeners, so this is next to me. And she tells the story of her first conference that she's sitting in the back room, amazed by everything that's going on. And she left that place and said, I'm not meant to be here. And I never met Rose. knows what's happening in your life. I don't know your story. I'd love to hear it one day. But for some reason, I was just told to give you this eraser and say, I don't know what has happened in your life. I don't know if you feel like you made mistakes or things have happened to you. But just as anyone, all the way up there in the front, all the way to the White Couch, all the way to Coach Mark Pentecost, all the way across the room, for whatever reason, today's your day. Hear just these words: erase whatever you don't feel belongs in your story, and begin to write it in. Will you do that when you leave this place? All right, good. Watch this, Jody's following me. Sorry about the ears, that wasn't supposed to go that way. So the most important thing that matters in life, we talked about it, is what's inside. And when I was just thinking about people who, man, I just love and the value that they bring to this world. And I didn't think he would be here. He just had a baby. But Caesar, if you want to know how to run your business, how to have life the right way, the right balance, man, you got to look at Caesar and Eliana, man. They are the cream of the crop. I wish Eliana could be here. But the value that you bring to this company, the value that your family brings to this company, not just 1 year, 2 years, years and years. I remember meeting you guys the first time, I think it was here in Dallas, on some hall floor. 2018, Eliana had just went presidential. She was up and coming, killing it. And I can just remember this is going to be a couple that changes this company. The value that you bring each and every day is unbelievable. So I didn't want to give you lead because I thought that would be awkward. So I thought I'd get you and Eliana some. I just want this to remind you of free carpet and that there's value inside. That I don't know your story. I know we've met, but I don't know your story. But there's value that is inside you. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of things in your life that make you question that. There's going to be a lot of sharpening process. There's going to be a lot of things that happen. But do not leave this weekend to forget that the most important thing about you is what's inside. And if you will make a decision today to let that out to the world, your world will change. The people who are connected to you will change. They can't help but either get away from you or to grow with you. And I want to challenge you, stop allowing things from the outside to hinder what's in the inside. Let what's inside, the value that's inside you, be the thing that changes your world each and every day. Got me? All right, there you go. So fun making Joey follow me around. That was great. I do that every time. There's value in each and every one of you. And it's great. It's powerful. And this one, she's going to hate me for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Is Sarah Alcala here? This is my upline. I can come to you. We can go to the high. If it wasn't for your yes, yes, none of this happens. But your yes changed my life, Sherry Lynn's life, Stacy's life, Joey's life, Kelly Brown's life, Jesse Carter's life, Christy Vine's life, Valerie Stacy's life, Rachel Lee's life, Timmy's life. Thank you for letting your potential, your passion, cause you to say yes. If it wasn't for you, thousands would have never said yes to this business. I love you, and thank you so much for saying yes. Hear me tonight. Today is your moment. Today is your day. Today is not about me. It's not about the person on the left. It's not about the person on the right. Today it's about you and your decision to say, I am the author of my own story. And I'm going to write my story starting today. I want you to leave this place understanding that you have everything you need to succeed. Push fear aside, push doubt aside, push the naysayers aside. If you are ready to be an author of your story, stand up, pencil in hand,